Last week, the Glee Club sang Lady Gaga songs, Tina got a moment in the spotlight, and Finn and Kurt's storyline traumatized me forever. And that's what you missed on Gleeboot.
Yay!
Yeah, I don't actually remember most of that, but that's not new for me. So,
Yeah, I forgot all of that stuff happened. Again, I wipe the slate clean after we record every episode. I think it's the only way I'm gonna survive this.
yeah. And I've started doing the thing where I watch the episode right before we record so that I can remember it fresh. Very fresh.
The freshest.
Yes.
I had watched it, and then I overheard Allyssa watching it, and I just came because I'm like, I heard her shout no, and I'm like, I have to be here to see Allyssa watch Funk, because that's the episode we're talking about this week. Season 1, episode 21, Funk.
Gleeboot. Yeah.
This episode put me in a funk, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's only one episode left in season 1, right? That's why you're in a funk.
I'm so sad that the season's almost over.
Oh,
wow.
my goodness. Can I just say that I was not looking forward to this episode because I don't really like funk music, and I was so much more disappointed than I thought I was going to be.
Wow, that's so funny because it means you set the bar low, and then it was even lower than that.
Yes, it was.
I was not looking forward to this episode because this was one that I don't remember if this was on the recording of one of our previous episodes, but I happened to glance at the title and I was like, oh god, because what I remember from this episode traumatized me then and re-traumatized me again this time. So yeah, I think that's another reason why it put me in a funk, because I was like, ugh. Also, I don't know if maybe my definition of funk is just not correct, or maybe it's just taking a very broad interpretation, but I don't know. That's my first thought, is I don't know.
When you said, I'm not sure if my version of funk isn't correct, I thought of the Vine, that is not correct, because according to the encyclopedia of...
Yes. I think maybe Uptown Funk is what's ruined it for me, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this episode, except that there was a storyline that traumatized me, so I guess let's just jump right the fuck into it.
Before we do that, Kevin McHale and Jenna Ushkowitz, Artie and Tina, are copying us.
Oh my god, what?
They are rewatching season 1 of Glee and recapping it.
Oh boy.
And they did...
Wait, are they doing a podcast?
They have a podcast
Oh
together.
my gosh.
No! We're never gonna get the same kind of following. They have a leg up because they were on the show.
Well, yes.
And they had Leah Michelle in their first episode. Which is funny because Liam...
I'm sure she was so happy to be there because she's probably like, I love talking about Glee.
So she remembers everything because they don't. Or it's always funny.
That's hilarious. So we have that in common.
And then, but something else that we had in common was they were like, we don't remember so much of the pilot being about the adults and Sheets and things and Will. We really just remember the stuff with us. And I was like, so does everyone.
Yeah, I think everyone collectively was like, Glee is about the kids, and they wiped all of the adult stuff from season 1 from their brains, and then they were like, oh, wait, hold on.
So Glee gaslit America.
The whole country, and then also other countries who watch the show. So
shout out to our fans from Brazil.
Yes, we have so many Brazilian followers on Instagram. I'm so happy. Thank you for following us, and we can't wait to share lots of great content with you. And also everybody else too, but lots of Brazilians represented.
Yeah. So I just wanted to, I heard that and I was like, they literally are just like us. They're literally surprised by the amount of...
We should have them on the show, guys.
Oh my God, they'll be so easy to book. Be like, hey, you have a Glee podcast, we have a Glee podcast.
We're doing the exact same thing. We should definitely be on each other's shows.
Yeah. Like, we'll help you get traction, you help us get traction. That's how it works. It's how podcast businesses work.
We could star on their podcast.
Exactly.
It's great. Collabs.
So, funk.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I think the first...
What are our storylines even?
Our storylines are Kristoff acting like a Hans, a betrayal.
Oh my gosh.
That was so highbrow. I love it. Okay, I'm literally going to write that down. Kristoff. Wait, how do you spell Kristoff's name? Is it K?
K?
No,
Yes. It's a Kristoff.
Really?
Oh my God. Well, the more you know.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm a Frozy, so.
Oh boy.
I'm sorry, you're
a
what?
Frozy.
Is that what a frozen
It's what I've decided they should be called.
All right, let's get traction going. Frozy. Not a Frozy.
You're not? What are you drinking today?
No. I just finished my coffee, which, yeah, I will probably be drinking later.
I'm drinking orange juice because I'm sick.
I'm drinking strawberry Baileys. I'm the only one here drinking alcoholic something.
Strawberry Bailey? Is it... Okay, explain this to me.
Okay, so for Christmas, I got a box full of little tiny bottles of Bailey's shots in all the different flavors that Bailey's makes. So I just opened it. Yeah. And I am currently drinking the strawberries and cream Bailey's limited edition. So
is it kind of like strawberry milk with alcohol then?
Yeah, I would say. Yeah. But it tastes really, really good. I recommend it if it's still being made. What?
Are you drinking it in coffee? Or
what? No, I'm just drinking it.
Like on the rocks?
Yeah.
Or from the tiny bottle?
I definitely put it on the rocks. Bailey's is too sweet for me to drink just like by itself.
I don't think I've ever had Bailey's on the rocks. I think I've only had it in coffee.
You're missing out.
But I think I would drink that on the rocks.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It reminds me a little bit of Pepto-Bismol, which...
okay. I don't think I'm going to drink it.
I know that's not like a huge endorsement for a lot of people, but I was the kid who like licked out the cup whenever I had to drink Pepto-Bismol. I loved that stuff. It was really good.
All right, let's talk about Glee. Also, I have to say, Pepto-Bismol, not a sponsor, but could be. I'm open to it.
We're open.
We are wide open.
DM us.
DM us. Slide in our DMs, Pepto-Bismol.
Really anyone who wants.
Literally anyone who wants to give us money to make little commercials for you, we'd be happy to do it.
Yeah.
We would be good at it, too.
Yeah, I don't think we sound very desperate.
No, we don't. We sound casually desperate. Not like...
Casually desperate.
Like desperate with a lowercase d.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I can get behind that.
Yeah. So we have the betrayal storyline with Rachel and Jesse. We have Finn and Puck. Fuck that storyline.
Oh, that was great. Okay.
We have Quinn and Mercedes, Quinn-Sadies. And we have Will and Sue. So I think we should at least, let's do the betrayal storyline first, because that kind of puts all the other storylines in motion.
Well, are we gonna, I mean, like, encompassing all of the kids' storylines is kind of one big storyline, which is the two Glee clubs against each other.
Yeah.
Which I forgot their names.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The new...
New Directions.
Yes,
New
New
Directions. It even sounds
Yeah.
like New Directions when you're trying to say New Directions.
Yes.
Yeah,
it
I
does.
mean, you don't know which one I'm trying to say. New Directions.
I don't know what you just said.
New Directions. Just like
New Directions.
put a really long space in between it.
That's not awkward in conversation. So the New Directions. Yeah,
And
I think you're right, Alyssa. That's a great idea. And then
vocal adrenaline. Yeah.
which doesn't sound like an innuendo, so good for them. They've got that going for them.
So it starts off, it's like Artie, Tina, Mercedes, and Kurt are walking down the hallway, and they're talking about how all the show choir chat rooms and blogs that apparently exist are saying that they're ripe to topple vocal adrenaline because vocal adrenaline is missing Jesse, and the judges know all their tricks. And then
Isn't Kurt wearing his Cheerios uniform still?
yeah, he's on the Cheerios
Okay.
still.
He's still on the Cheerios.
Yes.
Okay. I have to keep reminding myself of that because there's like no references to Cheerios anymore. They're focusing on the Glee Club.
There's a lot of references to the Cheerios in this episode.
Yes.
In this episode, yeah, but like in like previous episodes, I'm like, wait, is Kurt still in Cheerios or not? Because Mercedes quit a long time ago.
That becomes a running joke later in the show about like who's on and off the Cheerios.
There are more people that are going to join and not be on the Cheerios. Oh my god, I can't. My head hurts already.
6 seasons, baby. So Rachel runs in and is all like, it's an emergency, into the auditorium. And we find out that Jesse St. James has betrayed Rachel and betrayed us and joined Vocal Adrenaline.
Are we New Direction?
I
empathize with New Directions. I align with them.
You
align with New Directions.
We're going to be stuck doing that for the rest of this podcast.
It's gonna be great. Our listeners are gonna love it.
We could just we could shorten it
To
and
the
do
nudes.
The NDs.
NDs.
Or the nudes.
The
Yeah,
NDs.
the NDs.
I'm wearing a Notre Dame sweatshirt. That's not confusing at all.
Yeah, because podcasts are notably a visual medium. Yes. Let's just quickly sidebar talk about how erotic that blue bomber jacket is on Jesse St. James. All right. Now that I've got that off my chest.
He looks good. He looks great.
Is there
So good.
ever a time that he doesn't look good though?
No.
Yeah.
He's a handsome man.
He's so... I love him. He's so good.
He
Disney,
definitely
I can't believe he betrayed them.
he definitely needs to be in the Gleeboot. I want him to be a series regular as the coach or something.
What if it's Jesse St. James after the fact, as an adult?
Ha ha ha
Ooh.
ha.
Yes.
Yes.
McKinley High School.
Yeah, he's
That's it. That's the podcast. We just broke it. There's the story.
so he is he's like, you guys never listened to me, you never respected my superior ideas. I'm going back with Vocal Adrenaline. And he and Vocal Adrenaline sing Are You Ready for This? And
I'm sorry, what?
right?
That
Another one bites the dust.
Yeah, I was
Another one
gonna
bites
say
the
that's not the actual name of the song.
Yeah, that's what they do. They just do the dun dun dun. Oh my god, that's gonna be in the Gleeboot. That song. It's a Glee club that only does acapella sounds because there's no lyrics to any of the songs they do. That's what's happening. There is magic in this episode today.
There's
Wow.
magic. I feel God in this Chili's tonight.
Ooh, office reference. Nice.
As I was saying those words, it's I knew I was saying the wrong song title. But I was I can't think of it. Another one bites the dust.
All right, so Alyssa had, what was it? Total Eclipse of the Heart mixed up with another song.
Alone, yeah.
And then it came back for her. So maybe there is like a lost track of, what was it? Are you ready for this? Yeah. This is great. All right.
Yeah, so it's a really good number.
So good.
Mhm.
Also, Jesse and that other girl are totally fucking. Like, they're hate fucking. That's what's happening. Like, their chemistry is bananas.
Yeah, they have good chemistry.
Wow, silence.
My main thing that I noticed about her was I was like, in a show full of high schoolers that aren't high schoolers, you look...
She was 35.
Yeah, that's literally, I was like,
Conservatively.
she's 35. You are the same age as like Adina Menzel when this is happening. Like, who's supposed to be your coach, Rachel's mother. Like,
It's great.
yeah. But he's like leaping around and like, it's an electric number. And so the NDs are rightfully put in a funk because they're like, I don't know how we're going to beat them. And then they TP'd the choir room.
That was a lot of toilet paper.
Yeah.
Vocal
Like,
adrenaline, TPs, ND's choir room.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, and if they feel violated.
Question.
Yeah.
What were they hanging the toilet paper off of?
That's a great question. That's a terrific question.
Yeah.
I don't have an answer.
Because
Yeah.
usually, like, you're going for branches or something, but you don't have that in an indoor
Yeah.
classroom.
Maybe like in the popcorn ceiling.
Do we even know what the ceiling looks like?
No.
See?
I'm assuming it's probably just ceiling tiles, right?
Yeah,
So maybe they popped it up in there.
that's what I would think.
So like when I was in school, like almost all of the classrooms had like little hooks hanging from the ceiling so teachers could put decorations. Maybe that's an option.
Yeah.
I'm sure they decorate the choir room eventually with like streamers hanging kind of like that. So maybe we'll get clarification later.
Yeah. Maybe at Christmas.
It was just a very important thing that I got caught up on.
No, I didn't even think about that. Now I'm obsessed with it. Now I'm going to be looking and I was like, where are they putting all these decorations in the choir room? I don't understand this. Continuity error.
And so Finn and Puck, in retaliation, fuck, slash all of Vocal Adrenaline's tires on their... What kind of car is it again that they all have?
I think they had like Escalades.
Yeah. They all have Escalades.
Like the notable like bad guy vehicle in action movies.
And they,
Like that's essentially what it is.
and they get caught and taken to PF, Principal Figgy Fig.
Oh, would that be his rap name? Principal Figgy Fig. Yeah, like these kids literally committed like a felony, and everyone's like, yeah, it's chill. Like, I guess this is fine. We'll just let them go. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah, and
cool. Let's reward this behavior.
they're definitely like, that is the appropriate way to respond to someone TPing your choir room, which is not even your home.
Exactly. Like a prank as opposed to a felony. Equal.
Yeah.
Buck really did a great job.
I do buy though that it's like supposed to be an escalation, that like we as the audience know like, whoa, that's way proportionally, but like these characters are both kind of dumb.
That's true. They are pretty stupid.
And
Well,
so
they
they
could have, you know, in the Gleeboot, we could just have an entire episode about the escalation of actual pranks between these two groups.
Yeah, I think that would have been like
a
an
fun
entertaining
episode.
of, like,
Yeah.
them, like, psyching each other out.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd sing, are you ready for this? Da, 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 over a montage of different pranks.
Yes. Writing magic is happening. I can feel it even though we're 3 time zones away.
Yeah, so Shelby is there too, and she agrees to let them off with paying off all the damage they did. And what does Fagin say to her? I'm looking at Alyssa because it's pretty loathsome, so I feel like she'll remember it.
You are as generous and as magnanimous as you are beautiful. I believe that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wrote, ew, Figgins hit on Shelby.
It's gross. And yeah, Figgy Fig. I hope that will continue for the rest of this podcast. Yeah, so they get a job at Sheets and Things. Fuck does.
To pay.
Yeah.
For the damage to the cars?
Yeah. Pay. Yes. Meanwhile, Will realizes that everyone's in a funk, and he's in a personal funk. And we'll get to his storyline later, but we'll just sidebar with it. He has this scene with this character that caused Alyssa to scream no at the TV.
What?
Okay.
Sandy Ryerson.
It wasn't with Sandy. He was not. What?
Will had a scene.
Oh, I forgot that was. Yeah. Okay, I only remembered fuck with Sandy Ryerson.
Yeah, wait. What was the? Was Schue going to look for pot?
Yeah.
That he wanted?
He's looking for pot, and then he was like, I don't sell to depressed people. Sandy was like, I don't sell to depressed people. And he's like, the Glee Club's in a funk, and he's like, the only thing that vocal adrenaline can't do is funk because they have no soul. And then Will walks in and is like, writes on the board, funk. Who can tell me what funk means? Use it in a sentence. And he's all like, it's about soul and anger. We're going to take McKinley to Funky Town. And
I was like, what does he even know about funk? Like, I don't understand.
To be, like, completely honest, Rachel's response to his question, which was someone use it in a sentence, she goes, that cheese smells funky. That's kind of the epitome of how I feel about funk music. I just really don't like it. So, this episode was interesting.
I feel like this episode does not have even that much funk in it.
No, it doesn't. Because they do entirely, like, different songs from different genres, and they're like, this was funk, right? And then everybody's like, no, it wasn't! Great, so...
Yeah, it's literally just, like, they're more so using funk in the sense that, like, hey, all these people are in a funk, and we're gonna put you in a funk, because the show is one episode away from the finale, and we're also in a funk. So... then that's why they have, like, they get to have, one or maybe two actual funk numbers, and the rest are just, like, putting you in a funk.
Oh, boy.
It's very complex, actually, now that I think about it. It's a very complex title and use of funk. I hate it.
Oh.
But yeah, Schue knows nothing about funk, and he's like, yeah, this is our assignment.
Yeah, when Sandy Ryerson first came on the TV, Cullen was right. I did scream no. And it was pretty much the worst because every time I forget he exists, they bring him back.
Yeah. Yep. It's like you're finally, like, free of him, and then he comes back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who knows when he'll be free? Or when we'll be free.
Yeah, I was going to say.
This is like, I don't want him to be free. He needs to be behind bars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next, next character. So yeah, he tells them to do funk, and then Quinn, there's like shots of Quinn looking interested, and Mercedes is all like, I got this. And Quinn's like, I want to get funky too. And everyone laughs because that sounded ridiculous. And then she's all like, it's all about soul and anger. I have plenty of both. I'm furious. And it's like fair. And then Mercedes is like, white people can't get funky. And then Quinn's all like, Mercedes racism aside. And it's just...
That was a cringy scene.
I audibly said, Quinn, honey, no. Sit down.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
Yeah.
Like, I understand. It's supposed to be funny because Quinn doesn't understand that. But it's also like, ow, please don't.
I can't tell if the show is like, oh, this is something Quinn would say because of her background, or if they're actually,
Or if they actually believe it.
yeah, if they actually believe that Mercedes is being racist right now.
Oh, actually, you know what? What was this? 2009, 2010? I don't know.
Totally possible.
Kind of a toss-up.
Yeah.
It's a toss-up.
Well, I mean, I made the comment while I was watching it, like, how incredibly racist this entire episode was. So, like, for real racist.
Didn't make any sense to me.
No episode with Howard Bamboo as a character is not racist.
Yes.
Accurate.
Just
Howard.
yeah.
I can't believe his last name is Bamboo. Oh God.
So speaking of Howard Bamboo, he's in it because Puck and Finn get a job, but they don't have sex.
What?
Fanfic writers away.
Maybe we should start calling them Pin.
I don't know if that's better. They get jobs at Sheets and Things, working for Terry, and she's bossing them around because they can't fold fitted sheets, which like I can't either.
They weren't fitted sheets; they were something else.
They were shams.
They were tea towels, something like that.
Shams.
Like, I think you're right. Pillow shams.
Yeah, and
something that's pretty simple to fold.
And she was like, I only hired you two losers because I'm trying to like maintain my lifestyle and become manager by end of the month or whatever. And then they have to help Sandy Ryerson, who's back at the store.
She literally says something about like, and you're getting paid that's like basically just above slave labor.
No, she says like you'll work for less than immigrants.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Racism.
So, similar idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oops.
Oh,
sorry.
Hi, Suki.
No, I kicked her bed.
You kicked her
bed.
Oh my God.
I kicked her bed.
Suki's mad. There was a bing.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
Oh my God, sorry. That was my my texts keep like popping up.
Ooh.
I have to close it.
So they're at Sheets and Things, and Sandy Ryerson calls them over to help, and Puck is all like, "Are you gonna fondle us?" It's just like,
not funny.
And he's like, "I need this specific shade of pink," and they're like, "This is all the pink we have," and he's like, "Did they change the name of this place to Losers and Things?" And Finn looks at his like vest to see.
That's like a pure moment. It's like that's a good acting choice.
It was just that was actually funny. And so he's yelling at them about turning on the music, and Puck turns on the radio, and it goes into a musical number. I'm a loser, baby, so why don't you kill me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is not funk. That song is not funk, is it?
No.
I think that's where they're like, okay, so funk means so many different things. It means like the actual music, but then like people being in a funk, and that's kind of what that song is being used for. And I guess also that's what it is about. So like that's where like this broad interpretation of using the word funk in this episode just kind of like, you think funk is going to be one thing in the episode, and then it becomes 10,000 other things that you're just not interested in.
Choose one. Come on.
Yeah.
I thought it was.
I would have preferred all funk music.
I thought the "I'm a Loser, Baby" that was a fun number of them at the store.
Oh.
I thought it was.
Really?
I actually enjoyed the.
Oh.
I liked the part where all of the store employees were singing it. Because that's how you feel when you work in retail. I can attest to this.
Oh my god, guys, I totally zoned out. As soon as the song started happening, I was like, nope. And then I zoned out, and then I came to whatever the next scene was.
I did not like when they had Sandy singing, because he was singing part of it, and I was not on board for that. But I liked when...
we're like, we already know you're a loser.
Yeah, no. The store employees was funny.
Yeah. It was just like a clever musically way to do it. And then...
And I feel like they could have done that literally in any other episode.
Yeah. They're just trying to fill things up before the finale at this point.
Yeah.
And so Terry turns off the radio and she says to Puck, I thought Jews were supposed to be smart.
Racism!
Yeah, that was another good one. Zing! We all feel very comfortable, Terry. Thank you.
Terry always makes everyone feel comfortable.
Yep. That's why her marriage was so successful. Ooh, zing!
Zing, zap, zoom. So then Terry sees Finn is asking Terry for help with the folded sheet, but she sees Will in like, when Finn is talking, she like sees Will like, Mrs. Schuster, can you help me fold this? And
he's like kind of being like weirdly sensual, I guess, when he's saying it to her, right?
Yeah, and then it cuts to Finn just being normal.
Yeah, being like a dope.
Yeah.
Then Terry asks him how old he is.
And he's like 16 and she's like, oh.
No.
She's just like, oh. Yeah, not comfy. Mm-mm.
Terry making everyone feel comfortable always.
Sheets and things.
Sheets and things.
It's like 1,000 thread count.
A safe place to be that's not racist. So, yeah. So to keep going with the sheets and things stuff, she's trying to help Finn fold the fitted sheet, and he's all like, or the sham, and he's all like, sorry, like my heart's just not in this. I'm worried about my assignment for Glee Club. And she's all like, Glee Club? Ugh. I hate Glee Club. And she's like, oh, sorry, I just have this compulsive need to crush people's dreams. And Finn is like...
She says... I wrote down her line because I was like, oh my god, same. She wrote, Glee, it's the tungsten mold on my life. I was like, wow, I actually relate to Terry Schuster right now. What's happening?
And
important step for Terry though, because at least she realizes that she's crushing other people's dreams and has a compulsive need to do so.
Yeah, that was like a weird moment of like self-actualization that I was like, what's happening here?
And so she decides to help Finn out, and Finn's all like, yeah, other like you, because he's like, oh yeah, Mr. Schuster talked about that. He's like, oh, but like, you're really cool, and if it wasn't for the whole faking a baby thing, you'd be a total MILF.
Yep.
I thought that line was kind of funny because it's something the character would say. And then she's like, oh, I'll help you with your assignment. We'll just go to the iTunes and type in the word funk and see what comes up. And then she makes him assistant to the assistant manager. And Howard Bamboo is upset. And Finn's job at Sheets and Things is never revisited again in the 6 seasons of Glee. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, well, poor Howard Bamboo, like one of the lost victims of Glee.
First by creating the character and giving him the last name Bamboo.
Name Bamboo, yeah. Oh.
Yeah. So Finn and Puck and Mercedes perform Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch's Good Vibrations.
Yeah.
Which is not funk, which is discussed.
Correct.
Yeah, they're like, it's not funk. But
I didn't want to admit that I liked it.
It was fun.
I fucking love this song. And I was like, but fuck this version. And then I was like, actually, no, it kind of bangs. It's literally like the back-to-back notes. I was like, fuck this. And then I was like, actually, it's kind of awesome.
Yeah, it was like really...
It's a great song.
It was fun. It was grounded in the choir room. I was like, more Glee numbers should be like this.
Yeah.
Like, it was good. But then Mr. Schue right away is all like, well, that wasn't funk. And then Artie's like, we're so depressed, we can't even pick the right songs. And I'm like, way to, like, not motivate your students, Mr. Schue. Instead of being...
That and, like, it's literally like the writers being like, we don't know what we're doing either. I'm like, yeah, nobody knows what's happening in this episode.
They're like, who's to say what funk really is? Funk is the friends we made along the way. Yeah, so that's the kind of the Finn and Puck of it all, and then
the fuck of it all.
The fuck of it all. Quinn sings with the help of the Unwed Mothers Club. They sing of dancers in fake pregnancy pads. They sing It's a Man's World, and Artie calls it offensive when the pregnant women walk in.
I was offended by Artie. I wanted to punch his face. How is that offensive?
Yeah, that's what I was like, why do you think this is offensive?
I'm like, after all this shit you've seen in this Glee world, you think this is offensive, Artie?
Right. I really wanted to like the number, but I didn't.
Yeah, that's a good way to say how I feel about it. I like the idea behind it.
Yeah, I think the idea of, like, she gets these other girls who are in her situation, which, like, I'm like, okay, why hasn't this ever been brought up before? Like, this would actually be really interesting to see Quinn, like, connect with someone who's literally going through the same thing she is. But there was, like, a weird, like, Lamaze breathing part, and that there was, like, one of the times I was like, oh, no.
I hated the Lamaze breathing. But I liked the rest of the song, but the Lamaze breathing was not good.
Yeah, I didn't know how I felt about her singing either, but there was like a good intention to it, so I was kind of like, okay, I don't hate it, but I don't think I like it either.
Yeah, it's just kind of in the middle. Yeah, so she sings that, and then that causes Mercedes to realize. She, like, comes up to Quinn, and Quinn's like, oh, I'm sorry, and Mercedes is like, no, like, you may not be a minority, but you get what it feels like to be one. And I'm like, this is a lot of typical Glee, equalizing all difficulty as the same. When those are just, like, neither one is, like, worse or better than the, like, more difficult. Like, you just can't quantify those things.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Schue does, like, in one of the first episodes, you're in Glee Club, you're all minorities.
Yeah, it's just like...
Hashtag never forget.
Never forget. It's just like, the way Glee says things are equal, it could just be, oh, these are all... This is difficult, and this is difficult, and they're different, but they're hard. They're also both hard. But Glee's way to do it is, like, if you have any difficulty in your life, it's the same as all other difficulties.
Right. What motivated Quinn to apologize to Mercedes? Essentially, she's apologizing about racism, right?
Yeah.
I think so, but I did not the two scenes were so separated that I didn't understand it at first. It was a very strange, like, when Mercedes came up and Quinn said, I'm sorry, I had no idea. Until a little bit later in the conversation, I was like, oh, okay, it's the whole racism comment, or racist comment, but it was just very separate.
When did she learn that, though?
I feel like it's like...
Was it through that experience with those other mothers and singing that song? Was that her learning experience?
I think that was the intention, that we were supposed to, like, understand that happened through her singing the song, but it doesn't really make sense.
I feel like there was a cutscene That's what I
Yeah.
feel like there's and in the Gleeboot, I wouldn't have a funk episode, just being honest. But if we did,
Yeah.
we could have it. We would have a Quinn realizing that it's like, oh, this is why Mercedes is a little defensive of funk music and like the history behind it, and then that might motivate an apology, like
a legitimate history lesson of this genre of music.
yeah, like something kind
like,
of
I think, yeah,
like something that Will Schuester should probably actually do if he's a teacher.
Yeah.
aka educate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Mercedes Quinn like pairing. I think it's really really interesting, and there's like a lot of potential there, and it kind of does feel like we were talking a couple episodes ago, like they went with Rachel to go meet Shelby, and we're like, what is the conversation that these two characters decided to go with Rachel? Like, we want that. Like, I want more of the Quinn Mercedes friendship, the stuff that we're not seeing, because it seems like there would be a
Interpersonal
lot
connections.
yeah, there'd be a lot of really interesting stuff there.
Yeah, because Mercedes at the end of this conversation is like, you're not angry, you're hurt, and you just need a safe place to unpack. And why don't you move out of Puck's house and come live with me? I've talked to my mom.
Hold on a second. No, her exact words were, "It's decided. You're gonna come live with me."
Because Quinn never gets agency.
Yep.
Like,
I didn't know
she
blonde
got
women
to
had
pick-
agency.
yeah, blonde white women don't have agency.
I've never seen
Sorry.
Legally Blonde, so I never learned that. I'm
Wow.
lying. I'm lying. I've seen Legally Blonde somewhere.
Yeah.
But you still never learned that.
He wasn't watching closely enough. Yeah, no, like even like the only like moment of agency that she's really had, honestly, was being able to pick this song.
Oh, she had one moment of agency and she wasted it.
Oh.
So yeah, that's that.
So, but it is nice. It's this really nice moment because Quinn was there. This was a moment of agency that Quinn had when she helped out Mercedes when Mercedes was starving herself to be on the Cheerios.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And this is Mercedes kind of returning the favor, like being there for her when she needs someone. And I like that for once in Glee's life, like something was built up to instead of just like happening.
There's continuity.
Yeah, and so that's why it's an interesting relationship with two people that are very different, but also sort of have a lot in common, and it's cool. Yeah, and I
think their relationship's great.
And Mercedes' dad is a dentist, from what I remember, so I just feel like Quinn's probably in better hands than in the Puckerman household that just seems like a mess.
Do we know anything about Puck's parents? Except that they're Jewish?
He lives with his mom.
Yeah. He lives with his mom.
They sit down every so often to watch Schindler's List, right?
Yeah.
Over TV dinners. I remember that sequence very vividly because his little sister like screams when there's like a gunshot on the TV and like runs away. And
he has
just, like,
siblings.
whatever.
I forgot he had siblings.
Yeah, he has a sister. And that's what I'm going to say.
Am I missing something here?
No, not yet.
Oh,
But yeah, so what we know is that he has a sister and he lives with his mom, who's a single mom, and his dad walked out a really long time ago. But yeah, that's really all we know. So like we can assume that like they don't really have a lot of funds because I think he probably lives in like the poorer side of town because that's kind of what he's like. I'm a delinquent because of all this stuff.
Yeah.
So like I can imagine that Quinn is also helping Puck's mom by being like, okay, I'm not going to put the burden on you anymore. I'm going to accept help from someone who can actually help everyone in the situation.
Yeah.
By like helping support her and take care of her. So yeah, I guess there's a lot of good that comes from that.
Yeah.
It's just very strange how it happens, I think, where she's like, it's decided. It's happening.
Yeah. That's Glee for you. Something nice, but it's going to be a little weird.
Accurate.
And then Rachel is summoned by... Rachel gets a call from Jesse, or is it a call or a text? It's a call.
I think.
Yeah, on her little bedazzled flip phone, to come meet him in the parking lot, and she runs out to meet him, and she sees him, and just like Hannah would, she's moved to run towards him with her arms wide open.
He's got his beautiful face and his curly hair and his bomber jacket. He looks so good. And then she's running in slow-mo. And then she gets attacked. I was honestly really hurt by that whole moment because I was like, Jesse, no.
It's a powerfully like betraying moment where vocal adrenaline then eggs her, and it's like the egg effect is like so splattery and gooey, and she's covered in it. It almost
gets in her mouth.
And then,
but her hair's gonna be really shiny after that.
And then Jesse's just watching, and the 35-year-old woman is like, "Are you gonna do it, Jesse? Like, are you with us or not?" And then so she's like, "Do it, break that egg like you broke my heart."
Even though she's 35, can we still call it peer pressure?
Peer pressure. So he's peer pressured, and he breaks the egg on Rachel's forehead, and because he's like, "I loved you," and it's
which I don't understand that line at all. I loved you, as if she did something to make him not love her anymore.
Yeah,
it was very strange.
Kind of confused.
Very,
I
very
thought,
strange.
okay, maybe I forgot. Well, was he still salty about Rachel doing that Joey run number and betraying him? Like, was he still upset by that?
That was so long ago, though.
I think they got back together since then.
Yeah, and then, literally the last time we saw him was when he was talking with her mother about feeling like he really liked Rachel. Yeah, that was the last scene we saw him.
Yeah, I was like, that's literally the only thing I could think of. Because I was also really confused by that line. I was like, did I miss something? Am I forgetting a betrayal that she did? I don't know. It still hurt, though.
It hurt. And we cut to her crying, and she's like, I'm just having visions of all the mother hens coming after me for revenge, because we found out Rachel is vegan. Which is why they were throwing eggs at her, one of the reasons. And all the boys get up, they're like, we're gonna go beat them up. And Will's like, what are you doing? And Kurt's like, Rachel's one of us. We're the only ones that get to humiliate her. And then he's...
Which is a great line, honestly.
Legitimately, I feel like, it's very sibling-ish.
Yes.
Yeah, like I wasn't like, oh wow, they're really mean to Rachel. I was like, aw, it's like she's their sister.
And Will's like, everyone go sit down, and then Kurt's the only one that immediately goes and sits down. And I was like, relatable, Kurt. And then he's like, we have to beat them in a non-violent way. And he's like, Rachel, give me your phone, or call Jesse. And Santana's like, you still haven't deleted his number? And then they're like, vocal adrenaline, come meet us in the choir room or the auditorium. And vocal adrenaline's there, and they...
Hold on. I have to make a comment here.
Okay.
I cannot believe that Jesse actually picked up the phone.
He loved her.
I was just gonna say that. So, like, Rachel didn't delete his number, and he hasn't deleted her number.
But he picked up the phone.
You picked up your phone back in the day.
I didn't. I didn't pick up my phone ever.
Yeah.
And then,
I actually would, screen the call and then text them 20 minutes later, be like, hey, I was busy, what's up?
Yeah, I don't know.
So if you ever get a text like that from me, I apologize in advance.
I know you're lying.
It's just, I don't know. Like, after that whole ordeal, there is no way I would ever pick up the phone. Like, can you imagine
Yeah.
betraying
He
someone,
should
seeing them
be
calling
expecting
you?
retaliation.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. Like, and Jesse's too smart for that.
But he might still have feelings for Rachel.
But he
In
brings
that
all of
case,
vocal adrenaline.
I wouldn't pick,
Like,
if I did that, if I was the betrayer and I still had feelings for that person, I would never pick up the phone because I'd be too guilty.
Well,
I don't know if Jesse feels. Honestly,
I don't know if
like
Jesse's a psychopath or not.
I definitely think it's a giant logic issue because, yeah, like, why would they come back to, like, to ND's home turf knowing that, like, they probably, like, they just pissed them off after the egg incident with Rachel. Like, they should be expecting retaliation. So, like, why would they do that?
because
Like,
they
it
didn't
kind
want
of
to
would
have to
made more
pay
sense if
for
they
2
broke
sets.
into vocal adrenaline. It would have made more sense if they had gone to vocal adrenaline and done the funk number in their face.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, it's a logic issue probably because they're like, we don't have the vocal adrenaline auditorium this week. Sorry guys, this is what we're doing.
Yeah. So then the Glee Club performs We've Got the Funk. Not Take Me to Funky Town, which to me would have been a great choice. And it happens, and then the vocal
It happens.
it happens.
The number happens to us and to vocal adrenaline.
And vocal adrenaline.
And no one can stop it.
Vocal adrenaline. Hannah just killed me. I don't know why that's so funny.
Oh God, Cullen, no,
dying.
he really is dying.
And then they're staring blankly at the stage in awe, and I almost called him Kristoff. Jesse is all like, they did a funk number. It's the one thing we can't pull off, and the 35-year-old woman is all like, because we're soulless automatons, and he's just like, I'm so depressed, in like this soft monotone voice, and the episode ends. And it wouldn't have been that bad of an episode if those were the only storylines in it.
Right, if only we could just end it here. Okay, so really quick. So how does then vocal adrenaline know that they're going to do a funk number? Because what we know about Glee is they just randomly do numbers, and then none of them end up in their, like, competing performances. They're just, like, wasting time and never practicing for the actual numbers. So, like, how do they know they're going to do a funk number?
Because they just did one. They don't say they're going to. They just did.
Like, it implies that because they did a funk number, they have
soul.
They have the ability to beat them. Not necessarily.
I didn't think the number was that great.
No,
if I was vocal adrenaline, I would be like, listen, we have blue bomber jackets and we did Queen. Fuck you guys.
Yeah, it definitely was not better than...
No.
Are you ready for this? Dun, dun, dun. Are you ready for this?
Okay, so yeah, I guess the episode's over. That's the end of the show, guys. All right, thanks for coming.
Unfortunately,
this is the part that traumatized me. The rest of the episode, if that was it, I'd be like, you know what? That was boring. I don't understand it. Sure. This, I am forever changed in the worst way.
It's the opposite of for good in Wicked. I am not changed for the better. Yeah.
That's a great song.
So it's a great song, but it's not in this episode, but it will be in Glee later. So when Rachel's crying about Jessie breaking up with her, and Will's giving her tissues, and she's like, "This is a classic move. They're breaking my heart and ending my will to live right before the big competition." And I'm like, "Stay true to your dramatic self, Rachel. I love it.
Never change.
Never change." And then Will is thinking about himself in the middle of all this, and is all like, "Oh, they gave me an idea how to defeat my nemesis." I'm like exhausted by just thinking of recapping this storyline.
Okay, so isn't like the first part of this that like Sue bursts in while he's trying to teach, quote unquote, in the choir room, and she's like, "I need a place to store all my new trophies, so I'm gonna like destroy the choir room and make it my new trophy room." And then this happens, and then he's like, "I know how to get back at her." Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that like the whole setup?
Yeah. Yeah, I forget whatever they're feuding of, whatever stage of their feud Will and Sue are in.
Well, now she wants to take the choir room.
Yeah.
So, but if she doesn't win nationals, then she's not going to have a giant trophy, which means she can't push him out of the choir room.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that's the vague logic.
Yes. In order to make sure that she doesn't win nationals, Will is going to crush her heart.
Yes.
First he's got a... Well, did we get to that he signed the papers with Terry in that very awkward, silent
divorce
scene?
Oh, yeah, he officially got divorced from Terry.
Can I say that the lawyer was so good? He had, 3 lines, and I loved him.
That whole scene was like, we're getting closure on something that I forgot was happening and did not care about. Like, that was something they could have just, like, never fulfilled, and I would have been like, oh yeah, that's right, they were married. Who cares?
It was really awkward when he was, like, having her sign the papers from underneath the rock that crushed her.
Yeah, exactly. It was really weird because actually the lawyer, Alyssa said he was really great, the lawyer was, like, wisecracking while he was, like, using Terry's hand to write, because obviously she's dead. She was crushed by a rock. Yeah, it was kind of gory, actually.
Yeah.
For anyone who hasn't watched the show and is just listening to us because, I don't know why, but whatever, Terry was not actually crushed by a rock. There was no gore.
It was a boulder.
Yes, a boulder.
Stop lying!
But yeah, basically they're there in their... I don't like their house, by the way. It's really weird. It's like weirdly New England-ish.
I think it's
like
an apartment.
Yeah, it's an apartment.
Is it an apartment?
Yeah.
That's an apartment?
Yes.
That's a giant apartment.
That a teacher and an assistant manager can afford.
In Western Ohio. Okay. Well, it's like really quiet. They don't really have many lines. And doesn't she go to like kiss him on the head or something?
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
that?
She says, "You'll always be that 16-year-old boy to me."
And then my immediate reaction...
That's why you're getting a divorce.
Yes, I know. My immediate reaction was like, that's why you're divorcing. Guys, you can't fall in love with one person. You have to fall in love with every single person after that. Which means as your spouse grows, so does your love. I say, as I'm not in a relationship at all.
But that is very wise. Like, you can't just be obsessed with the person you first became in a relationship with. Like, if that person grows, you have to decide whether you still like that person. If you don't, you have to be mature about it. You don't be like, I liked you better before. It's like, well, that's your fault. Like, get over it.
But what if that person grows into Will Schuester?
Then you get a divorce!
She's really, like, getting out of this pretty clean.
Yeah. So yeah, Will's officially divorced, and
so he can now do whatever he wants, and boy does he.
So he decides to seduce Sue, and so in the choir room at night, she's trying to kick him out, and he's all like, "I have to. You're like a tastemaker. Like the way the light's hitting you makes you look stunning." And I want to sing this song for you to see, is it too let me know if it's too racy for regionals. And there's this shot of his butt bouncing,
multiple times.
Multiple times, and I think that's waiting for me at the gates of hell. Will she's just
like he does the bend and snap, not to reference Legally Blonde again, but that's literally what I wrote. Like he's doing the bend and snap, and then he's starting to strip, and then I was like, he's literally sexually harassing her right now, and I was like, this is terrible.
It was
I wrote this is sexual harassment, and I don't just mean for Sue, I mean for me too. Like,
Glee doesn't know what sexual harassment is. Like there's so many things that happen where like this is not appropriate, and Glee has no idea.
He is doing too much butt work. It's the camera is just on. I can't, like, it's too much. And
then he does that thing where he gets all up in her personal space and like rolls his head around on her shoulder.
Yeah, what was that?
What even song was he singing?
Tell Me Something Good.
Oh, tell me, yeah.
But like, so he's doing this, and I'm like, oh, this is why when I saw the title of the episode, I groaned. I couldn't remember. It was like, why does this title make me feel really gross? And when this happened, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Now I know where the source of my discomfort is. And yeah, I want Ryan Murphy to pay for my therapy.
Yeah, it was horrifying, and he's all like, how was it? Was it too dirty? And Sue's supposed to be like smitten by it, but she's like, I was bored.
She's like holding it in, and she's like trying to be like stone-faced. And at like one point, I was literally like, is she actually like really uncomfortable and is about to like report him for sexual harassment? Because I actually couldn't remember what happened after this, and I was like, is there like a hashtag Me Too thing about to happen? I'm like, nah.
Yeah. And so then the next day, she's like writing in her journal, but she has non-murdery feelings for Will, and she's
sexy non-murder feelings. That's how I want to describe my future love someday. I have sexy non-murder feelings for you.
And he all comes in with like, oh, I got these red flowers to match your tracksuit, and here's some Appletini protein pills, protein powder.
Ew, gross.
And
oh God, he says like the worst thing. You know what Wednesday is? Hump day.
Oh yes,
that was. He should be shot in the head for that.
Because
straight up executed.
Because he's like, you should like, you have National Saturday, like go on a date with me Wednesday at Breadsticks, and then then he's like, you know what day Wednesday is? Yeah. So then he stands her up at Breadsticks. She's there in her tracksuit and her pearls.
Yep.
I love that she wore pearls.
And she stood up, and so then she barges into his apartment, is all like, how dare you hit on me and then stand me up? And he's all like, you're a bully and you're mean to kids. And I'm like, and you're a predator, so who's better?
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm mean to everyone. He's like, well, I would never be attracted to you. And then he kicks her out. And then then the next day, all the Cheerios are all like depressed and their ponytails are messed up. And they're wandering around aimlessly wailing. And Kurt's like, some of them Sue won't get out of bed, and so we can't go to nationals, and then some of them might lose their scholarships. And then Will realizes that his actions have consequences.
Oh boy.
Wow. The first time.
And he goes to apologize to her, and he speaks in Spanish to her maid a little bit.
And I was reminded that he's the Spanish teacher.
Yeah, Alyssa was trying.
I actually forgot that, and I found that vaguely uncomfortable because I was like, why is he just like assuming that she speaks Spanish? And then I was like, oh wait, he's a Spanish teacher. Okay, I guess.
And I was like,
but I was also like, Schue, stop.
That's all the Spanish he knows.
Exactly. He's been teaching the same 5 phrases to all of his classes the past however many years he's been the teacher.
And then
they only know how to say "Donde está el baño?"
And then he like gives Sue a pep talk because she's all like, I've given all my life to these kids, and what do I have? Nothing, because I'm alone.
As she's surrounded by 1,000 trophies in her home.
In her home. And
It's so great. I love her house, actually. I kind of love it.
It's a funny bit. Sue's whole mystique is funny.
Yeah. The layers they peel back that you're just like, I did not expect that, but somehow I did. It's great.
But then she has this thing where she's like, because I don't have someone, my life isn't worth it. And it's all like, yep. Because women need someone in order for their life to have meaning. Thanks, Glee.
Oh, boy.
She's incomplete because she's ambitious, she's driven, and she's successful at what she does, and she's proud of it. And she's incomplete because she doesn't have a man or a partner, at least.
And what does he say that motivates her? I just start to ignore things he says.
It was something like, you're not alone. You have your kids, and they don't have to love you. You love them, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, actually, I think that's pretty much what he said. Usually when he starts talking, all I hear is like from Peanuts. Wah, 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 wah.
And then she's all like, you'd be a great trophy husband. And I'm like,
What do you... No, he wouldn't.
And then, so then they go on to win nationals. The news reporter is like, they say you're the Michael Jordan of cheerleading. And she says, I am. And then they say that she had Kurt perform a 14-minute Celine Dion medley entirely in French.
And of course he did amazing.
And he did amazing. And so she won nationals, and she shows up at his house with Brittany and Santana and a male cheerleader carrying the giant trophy. And she's all like, either this goes in your choir room or you kiss me. And he's like, does no one have to know? And she's like, yeah, no one has to know. So he's about to kiss her. And then she's like, you know what? Never mind. I can't abide the stench of failure or something. Something like that.
That was the most uncomfortable scene for me.
He licks his lips, and I'm like,
because,
can you not?
Yes, yeah, because she goes, you have to kiss me on the lips with tongue. And then he licks his lips, and I was like, oh my god. Ugh.
At least the
And then they get really close, and then she's like, something about like his breath smells like failure.
Yeah.
So
she puts the trophy in the choir room. At least the teens leave before their awkward scene. And as they're leaving, Brittany's like, sorry, Mr. Schue. She like whispers an apology, and I'm like, oh, Brittany.
Wait, is she apologizing for leaving that trophy there, or is she apologizing because she knows what's about to happen?
Both.
Brittany's psychic.
Brittany's too pure. And yeah, so that's basically, so then the trophy goes in the choir room in a glass case. And that's the end of the Will Sue plot.
Thank God.
I feel really gross.
Yeah. Thankfully, we didn't have to spend too long talking. Like, I was like, how do I recap this as quickly as possible where we discuss how horrifying and awful it is, but, like, I don't want to relive it.
Yeah. I'm glad that we helped you. We took on the burden with you.
It brings down the whole episode from, like, a middle grade Glee episode to, like, one of the worst.
It doesn't even have to be there.
It's gross. It's really uncomfortable.
Will's butt is involved.
We literally recapped the entire episode without it in our recap, and the episode made more sense without it.
Seriously, though.
Yeah.
Because, like, there was just one more, like, element of, like, psyching someone out before their big thing. And, like, it wasn't necessary. Like, there could have been something totally different going on with Schue. I don't know. he was on vacation because no one wanted him around. Like something like that.
Or they could actually have learned about funk.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have learned an actual lesson. Maybe Schue could have educated himself on funk so that he knew what he was talking about and didn't sound like a giant asshole. But he failed because he's a giant asshole.
There we
That's
go.
why his chin
All
looks
right.
like a butt.
A lot of butt work then.
So, I guess it's Tina time.
Tina time. Yay. All right, I'm
Okay,
ready.
so I'm going to be totally honest. I did not count her lines at all, but I'm fairly certain she had about 0.
She had 1.
She had 1?
It feels so violating when they TP'd the choir room.
Oh.
But other than
I thought
that,
that was someone else.
it had 0 because I remember the opening scene, everyone else was talking and Tina just vigorously nodding her head.
Yeah, so she had 1 line!
Yay, good for Tina. I'm thinking in a few episodes we're going to forget what the sound of her voice sounds like.
Yeah, season 2. Oof.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Yeah. And what's next? What's our next segment?
LVP and MVP?
Yeah, LVP and MVP. Who is our least valuable player this week?
No question. It's going to be Schue for me. I found it deeply unsettling, and I think I threw up in my mouth a few times.
I'm also...
During this conversation.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Schue because this was the most uncomfortable I've ever been watching anything, and it was all because of him.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. He's pretty bad. I'm gonna just single out his butt.
Like his backside or his chin?
His backside.
Okay.
As the worst thing to ever happen to me and humans.
Yeah, I'm gonna. That's great. All right. So I didn't realize we could start targeting people's body parts. So next time, I'll keep that in mind.
The camera did it. I just followed suit.
I don't know. Is this body shaming? You should shame the entire person.
I'm not saying there's something wrong with his butt. I'm saying I just didn't want it in my face.
Yeah, so maybe the cameraman or the DP should be the LVP. It's their fault. MVP? I chose Mercedes. Because I think it was really great that she like stepped up and helped Quinn. Yeah, that's kind of all I got.
I'm gonna go with Finn because I liked the loser baby and the good vibrations number. And when he looked at his thing to see if it's a losers and things.
I'm gonna go with the lawyer because I really liked his really minimal part. I thought it was hilarious. My favorite line in the entire thing was, "By the power invested in me as your attorney, I am officially pronounce you no longer husband and wife." Muzzle tov! It was great. Standing ovation, Mr. Lawyer.
Yeah, that was great. And that was a great line read from you, Alyssa. I think you really channeled him.
Thank you.
And all right, so what was your least favorite song? I know what mine was.
Mine was the loser thing. Didn't care for it. I don't like the song. Didn't like the musical number itself with the retail people. So.
I don't know the name of the song, but the one that Schue sang.
Tell me something good.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Mine is. Are you ready for this? No.
I'm gonna keep going one more bar every time it comes up.
My least favorite was Tell Me Something Good as well. Now, what was your favorite song this week?
The most erotic version of Another One Bites the Dust I have ever witnessed. Yeah, those blue bomber jackets, Jesse St. James, Serving Us Queen. I loved it.
I'm gonna go with the loser song. Is it just called Loser?
I think so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. In the retail store, because I thought it was really fun and funny, just like watching all of the retail employees sing it.
I'm going with Good Vibrations.
All right.
It was a good time. Yeah. And so what... So would you do a funk-themed episode in your Gleeboot, or would you theme it to a different kind of music?
There's so many different kinds of music. Like, do we have to just do one themed episode?
No, but just like, how about instead of, like, what is a genre that you like and you'd like to see?
Blues.
A blues episode?
I love the blues.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, that's interesting. I can't even really think of an actual blues song from any of the Glee music I remember. So actually, that might be interesting.
Blues actually is a good choice because when I think, oh, they don't have soul, to me, I think blues.
Yeah, I never go straight to funk.
Yeah, because like funk, I don't know. I guess like maybe just like what I understand funk to be is more about like getting upbeat and like moving around, like kind of like more dance music. But like blues, you're really kind of getting into like an emotional depth with the sound and the lyrics. And I feel like Glee could use some more actual soul like that.
Yeah, I feel like blues would be a good place to go. Also, just like if you're trying to show that vocal adrenaline can't be soulful, I would get that much more from blues.
Have them do a slow song. Like, can Vocal Adrenaline do anything slow? Like, their name is literally like Adrenaline.
Yeah.
So like, if we can do like ballads, slow songs, and upbeat songs, they obviously have a good range. That means Vocal Adrenaline, like that would be a much stronger leg up than them being able to do funk specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this whole like right before, what is it, sectionals, right?
Yeah.
Or regional?
No, this is regionals. Sectionals was
Okay,
the
so
middle of the season, yeah.
Okay. So right before regionals, like, yeah, like the whole psyching up and like psyching the other team out makes sense. But I think it was a really poor execution of that like penultimate episode, because you really need something that's actually going to be a stronger leg up, and they literally had to explain to us why Vocal Adrenaline felt bad. Is because they're like, oh, we're soulless automatons, and I'm like, okay, but like what Alyssa's posing makes a lot more sense, and I think would be way more effective. So I think it's going in the Gleeboot.
Gleeboot, blues episode.
Yes.
And because you could feeling blue, it still works for being in a funk.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the slowness and the depth, it just makes way like so much more sense.
We could still have a prank war set too. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Absolutely. It's Vocal Adrenaline doing it.
Yeah.
They're all like, dun, 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 dun. They're like, this is chaos. And then they're like, guess what we can do? We can do this awesome, slow, like blues rock song that has a lot of depth to it. Fuck you guys, you can't do that because you're all on like fucking steroids.
Yeah, this sounds like
okay,
we got it. It's good.
It's a great episode. All right.
It writes itself.
Yeah. Want to plug our socials?
Our Somies?
Somies.
So we are on Instagram and Twitter at GleebootPod, and then we're also on Tumblr, GleebootPod. So yeah, come check us out, follow us. Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at yaboyryan99 to see my YouTube persona. You can follow my YouTube channel, yaboyryan, YABOI Ryan. Do you have anything you want to plug?
I still can't remember my Instagram. I think it's AM Swearingen. Is that it?
I think it might be A.M. Swearingen.
Cool.
Do
you want me to
try them both?
Yeah.
You'll find
Sorry,
her
everyone. You're gonna have to dig a little bit harder for me.
She's gonna make you work for it because she puts her art up there. You have to work to see her talent.
Sweet. So yeah, that sounds like our next episode is going to be Journey to Regionals, the last episode in season 1. So some exciting stuff. We've come a long way on our Glee journey, and excited to see you join us next week.
Oh boy.
Yay.
See ya.